Last week I spoke at a dementia village, and one of the daughters said she'd taken her mother out for a drive and she'd read through the window all the billboards all along the way. McDonald's, Kentucky Fried, supermarket chains. And after she'd done all that reading, when she came back to the unit, she was speaking a lot more clearly. And the daughter thought that it was because of this, all the reading that she'd done, that she was able to speak and communicate a lot better. And this is the main point. When dementia residents are able to read, they can focus, they can concentrate, they have that chance of being able to recalibrate their thinking, to be able to remove themselves from the dementia stress and retrack and regain some ability of focus and concentration, which the reading gives them. And this is why reading is so important in a dementia facility. So I'll just go through some other examples of this in terms of how to assess if someone's able to read or not. So, okay, at the dementia facility I worked at, there was a lady that she didn't sit down and engage at the activity. She didn't read the newspaper, but she'd walk along in front of the smart TV with the ever-present subtitles below, and she'd say as she went along, "The lion roars." She'd just read 2 or 3 words from the subtitles, or, "The fish is swimming," whatever it was. And on this particular day, her relatives came in, and I mentioned to them that, their mother was reading, and she said, "Oh yes, she's always been a good reader." Now, this is an exact example of this lady was a good reader. She was reading on the Netflix subtitles. She obviously found it quite easy to read. She was actually quite a fluent speaker, not all the time, but she could speak reasonably well. Now, for this lady, she really needed reading material, probably of the level of the newspaper and women's magazines, I would say, or the reading that she used to do back in the day. Not novels, but maybe they could go back to the library and the favourite books she used to read and bring those in, so she's got a stack of reading material, at her bedside or in a little bookcase in her room. So you can actually just observe and see if someone's sort of standing over at the nurse's station and looking at the headlines of the newspaper for a while, chances are they're trying to work it out and read it. So if you want to assess and see if your mother or your grandmother can read, what you can do, firstly, it's best to have a bit of a comfortable setup so that all positive points are in place. So I'll go through that. So, okay, so you need to bring in a range of reading material that you think would be suitable to be able to test your, say, mother's reading. And then make sure that your mother's settled, so it's a good day. She's not like going through dementia spin or dementia stress. It's a good day. Get a nice spot, window seat away from the main lounge where it's nice and quiet. Also make sure she's got her prescription glasses, hopefully she has got them on, because she has to be able to read and clean them. So everything's set up. She's been to the bathroom, she's not stressed, maybe she's had a cup of tea and a cake, she's in a good mood. So then, so that for the test, she's in the best frame of mind possible and as comfortable and settled as possible. And then you can just say, "Look, Mum, I just want to see if you can read, because if you can, and if you're interested in reading, then I can bring you in reading material." "Oh, yes, dear, that would be good. I was thinking that would be a good idea, but I just didn't think to ask you." So you can say, "Well, look, I brought in a number of things. We'll just start at the beginning and see where your reading level's at." "Oh, yes, I haven't read for a while, I have to say. I know. It was probably my fault in part. I hadn't thought about it. But now, I've been reading up a bit on it and watching all these videos and things and thinking it would be a good idea." So anyway, I've just brought a number of things here. Let's go through them. So you bring out the newspaper, and the title is "The Sun Shines." Say that's part of the title. Summer's arrived, the sun is shining. So you can ask your mother to read that, and she can probably, she can give it a go and go, sun shines. They're pretty easy words. She might spell it out, SUNSHINES. The sun shines. That's very good, Mum. Okay, so you got that. I mean, you wouldn't give her titles like cyclones or hurricanes, or words like that are too complicated, but summer and sun are fairly easy words. So if your mother does get that, well, just encourage her. Excellent, Mum, so you've got that, so it means you can read. Now we've got something to work on. Yes, dear, I think that would be good, but I need some simple reading to start with because, I haven't practiced for a while. And then you can ask her, well, what would you like to read? And then you're probably best to give some examples because she hasn't, if you ask her on the spot, she hasn't seen a library for years. So you can say, okay, well, would you like me to bring in the Woman's Weekly, the newspaper, some, cooking books with, the lovely photos and things. House and Garden, they have lovely photos of, gardens. Oh, yes, I would like that. I do like the garden. I've always been a gardener, and House and Garden and all those photos. I used to get that every week, actually, and I really liked it. Okay, Mum. We'll bring in, how would you like me to get you a subscription for House and Garden then? Oh, yes, I would love that, to have a fresh, lovely magazine every week to look through and, flick the pages and read the titles, and, I might get better as I go along. Okay, so that's good. Let's just start at that. I'll bring in the House and Garden. We can read it together when I come in, and we can have a nice time. So congratulations, Mum, you've done very well. That's going to make it interesting for both of us when I come and visit, because you can read it in the week, and I can come, and then we can read it together, look at the pictures, get some ideas about the gardening. Maybe I can bring you in a few flower pots for your room or something, or we can think, or I can get a nice big poster of some flowers and garden. Oh yes, I would like that. Nice sort of cottage garden scene in my room would just pick it up a bit, make it a bit more flowery. I'd actually like my duvet to be a bit more flowery. That plain blue one, I find it a little bit drab. Okay, I'm happy to do that. We can get a nice flowery duvet, big flowery poster, cottage garden that you can sit and look at and dream away. Fantastic. So this is, one way that you can assess the reading, implement what the interest is of the resident, and then work it through in terms of their interest. That's the important thing. And of course, the person has to have been interested in reading before to then be able to implement the reading and activate the reading and recalibrate the thinking so that they can read and get that focus and concentration going. And picking up from the past the skill and interest they had. But many residents can read, and they like to read and they want to read, but they just need to have material that they're interested in and that they can have access to, like all of us that read. We have to have a variety of material and new material to be able to keep that newness and focus and enthusiasm going. So this is the video today on how to assess if someone can read and how to encourage them with whichever topic. I mean, if your father's interested in racehorses, then you bring in, a newspaper article on racehorses or a book on racehorses and just go through, the same process and gradually, step it up and step it forward. So thank you today for your life. Thank you. Oh, I do want to say actually, thank you very much for all the hearts and likes and everything on TikTok. That's fantastic. There's, I think, over 2,000 now, and we're nearly up to 100 subscriptions on YouTube. So fledgling channel still, for sure, toe in the door and all that. But, it's happening, it's working, and I really appreciate your interest. And I'm seeing the interest on the particular topics and your comments, and I'm really taking note. It's a great help. Oh yes, the two books, The Resident's Voice from a Dementia Unit and The Resident's Rise from a Dementia Unit. Description below, there's the website where you can purchase it, and all these techniques that we're going through, all these, I think, so many videos are all in both books. So if, there's a lot of information, and you can have it like a little handbook in your handbag when you go to the dementia unit to refer to. So thank you.